Jay Horwitz, special edition of Amazing Conversations with Jon Matlack, 13-year Major League career, three-time All-Star career, 3.18 ERA, 1972 National League Rookie of the Year. Jon, thanks for coming on.
My pleasure, Jay.
Jon, I wanted to use the 1973 Pennant Race as a way to give it some hope. Right now, we're in the middle of the pack with the wild card, have a chance to win the division, but you guys in 73, in late August, you were 13 games below 500, 7.5 games out of first place. You go 29-13 the rest of the way, win the pennant on the last day in Chicago. Would it safe to say the Reds were favorite in the playoffs?
Yeah,
Beat the Reds
favorite.
5 games. Get to the 7th game, lose to Oakland in 7 games. But right now, once you get in the postseason, anything can happen. You guys, you got there late, but you made the most of a season. Just fell a little bit short. So there's still hope.
Always hope. As Yogi used to say, it ain't over till it's over.
Just you have to say at 73, a lot of the guys were hurt. I mean, Buddy was hurt, Grote was hurt, Cleon was hurt. And when everybody came back, that's when you guys started to play, right?
Well, I think there were numerous injuries during the course of the year that might have kept us from being as good as we could have been had everybody been at full strength all year. That being said, when everybody was healthy, things just sort of clicked. And there was a game in August, I forget the date, but the ball hit the top of the fence instead of going out and ricocheted back to Cleon. And
that was the ball on the wall game against the Pirates.
Yeah. We threw Zisk out. I think it was Zisk out at home.
Right.
Plate, and that seemed to me to be the point at which things turned around, after which, no matter what it took, somebody was equal to the task and helped us win ball games.
Yeah, I just touch a little bit about, unfortunately, some sad news from that 73 team. A couple of your teammates have passed away recently, and in a game a week ago, we unveiled a patch for Jerry Grote, the great Willie Mays, and Buddy Harrelson. Just wanted to talk a little bit about Willie. He's gotten some criticism. He wasn't the same player he was in 73. What do you remember as Willie as a teammate?
Willie was phenomenal to have around. There's no question about it. He probably was not as crisp athletically as he was when he was younger. That being said, he was like my surrogate father. He called me kid all the time. He was always looking out for me. You better get your rest tonight, kid. You got to pitch tomorrow. He was always doing something to help out, and had tremendous instincts. He would be able to try and take a base anyway based on trajectory of the ball to the plate, because he knew it was going to be a difficult play for the catcher, that type of thing. Just a great guy to have around.
And he won a game in the series. He got a big hit in an extra inning game, single up the middle, won a game, right?
I believe that's correct. Yep.
I guess he dropped the ball in center field one time, but I was told it was hard to see. Oakland wasn't the best place to see late in the afternoon. Was there some visibility problems too?
Yeah, there was a tremendous sun field because I guess of television, and our starts had to be earlier so that it was prime time back east for TV, and it made it very difficult in the outfield to see fly balls. So that was a fact for sure.
Talk about your catcher, Jerry Grote, who caught every inning of every postseason game in 69 and 73. I think you once told me he was the best catcher you ever threw to.
No question. No question. For a lot of reasons. He knew how to get the best out of people. He knew how to work umpires. I don't know whether they loved him or hated him, but they gave him the benefit of the doubt a lot of times on close pitches. He broke in his glove so that he could catch a pitch, 2 balls off the plate without moving his glove. There were so many things that he did to help you be better and to help the team win. Actually, we roomed together for a few years. He was one of those feisty characters that you always wanted in the foxhole with you.
And the last guy I wanted to talk about was Buddy Harrelson. How did he hold the infield together? What was his greatest attribute in your mind?
Buddy was the general on defense. There's no doubt about it. He set where everybody else was going to be. knew the signs that we were using, uh, realized what the pitch was going to be, would position himself accordingly, and other players would shift off of him. I cannot tell you how many times I threw pitches that were hit solid contact, and I'm thinking, oh man, that one's going through, and I'd look around and everybody'd be standing right there. He always seemed to know the right place to be. Tremendous,
John,
tremendous defensive guy.
John, what did it mean to you, as a major league player, to see, a tribute to your teammates, like a patch, on the uniform? What we're trying to do here is not to let people forget, to remember the past, to honor the guys. Like, we had a little ceremony. We had Maxine Agee was here, Kim Harrelson was here, Art Shamsky came. Then we had Cheryl Grote, his son, and just to let people not to forget. And I think it's important, right, to remember your past, and little things like that mean a lot. Does it to a guy who played here for majors, to see a patch remember your teammates? What does it mean to somebody like you?
I think it's a dynamite thing to do. I agree with you 100%. The past is the foundation on which the present is built. And without that, it's a little hard to have the present. So honoring it and keeping it in mind, I think, is a very positive thing.
Yeah, I talk about, go back to the pennant race a little bit. The last week, you had some big wins in the latter part of the year. You shut out Montreal, beat Philadelphia 3-2, shut out the Cardinals, and you lost 1-0 to the Cubs on the last weekend. How was it? Do you guys ever give up hope? I mean, into the year, or just a matter of getting the guys back healthy?
I think a lot of it was back healthy. Also, part of it was the ball on the wall was a turning point, and from that point forward, not that you wouldn't do it the rest of the year, but I certainly, when I walked out there, I didn't want to be less than, Stoney or Kuzman or Seaver or whoever else had been in front of me in the job that they did. I didn't want to be the guy that let the team down. And you mentioned that 1-0 game in Chicago. I'm going to clinch the pennant for us that afternoon. And I gave up a run without a base hit somehow in the first inning. And an hour and 42 minutes later, I think it was, Fergie had me beat 1-0. So it was just one of those days.
Divisions have changed. Like, back then, it was just East and West. Right now, there's a wild card and stuff. The season's really a marathon, right? I mean, like, you guys put in 69 and 73. You got who's at first, and the finishes what counts. So, I mean, we're playing better right now, and hopefully the people could use 73 as an example of, it's never, like you said, it's not over till it's over.
Well, I agree 100% there. The fact that in 73, I'm not sure, but I think everybody in our division was in first place at one point or another during the season. We just happened to get there when it counted. And I think that's what's important for the current fans and team to realize, is that it's not over till it's over. You got a lot of baseball left to play. And the way things are set up now is you're trying to make that playoff spot, whatever it can be.
You authored probably one of the best postseason games in Met history. In the playoffs in Cincinnati, we lose the first game, I think 2-1. And you pitch a complete game, two-hitter, beat the Reds 5-0. And if we would have gone down, 0-2. But what do you remember about that game, John? And it was at Riverfront.
Yeah, it was at Riverfront, and I was actually, Tommy pitched the first one and lost 2-1 on 2 home runs. I charted that game and reviewed it after the game, and I couldn't find a better way to pitch than he had that day, and we still came up short. I was a little bit concerned, obviously, going into the next day, and my game plan was to take it one pitch at a time, one batter at a time, one out at a time, and go from there. Rusty had told me that he had a tell that he knew from Gullett, and that he was going to get him at some point during the game to just keep him close. I'm going to hit you a home run. Yeah. And darned if he didn't, but it took till the 8th inning to get it done, I think.
You would have had your first win in 1971, but a fellow named Tom Seaver came in and blew the save for you. So how about that out of your ledger? Your first win was negated by the great Tom Seaver.
Yeah, it's really sort of sad to think about it that way, because I'm sort of singing in the shower thinking I got my first W because I got Seaver as a caddy, And a guy who hit a home run off me earlier in the game by the name of Perez managed to hit one off of Tom
Yeah.
too, and we ended up losing.
Joe, well, I talk a little bit about game three, the famous brawl between Buddy and Pete Rose. What do you remember about that? I think we won the game 9-2. But how shocked were you to see Pete and Buddy was what 5'6", 5'7", 150 pounds, and Pete was a big burly, was a big burly guy, right?
Yeah, Pete probably had 50 pounds on him easy, and I'm not sure how or why it happened the way it happened. I do know that Buddy was somewhat flustered over the course of the year, probably more so toward the end of the year, because of his size. Maybe people were taking shots at him at second base on double play balls, and he was getting a little fed up with it. And Pete went in there hard like he usually does, and I think Buddy just had enough, and that was the straw that broke the camel's back.
Joe, is it fair to say that you're not underappreciated, but Mets have Seaver, Kuzman, Gooden, David Cohn, and to go through your whole career with a 3.1 ERA is pretty darn good, and in the awards you won and the All-Star teams you won, and even in the World Series game, I want to touch the series, with a 2.1 ERA. I Mets Hall of Famer, I forgot to add. I mean, do you feel overlooked a little bit, or just Pitt were fortunate to pitch with a lot of good pitchers?
I was happy to pitch with a lot of good pitchers. Don't know that I felt overlooked. I do feel that the older I am, the better I was, kind of a thing. I just had friends point out to me the other day. I've got it jotted down here that you combine the shutouts by DeGrom and Verlander and Scherzer, and I've got almost double that.
And nobody pitches complete games anymore, let alone
Nobody
shutouts.
pitches complete game, and that was the other stat they said that if
Yeah.
you take all their complete games combined, I've got more than twice that. It was a different era, and you were expected to finish what you started, and I think everybody felt less than if they didn't get that done.
Looking back on the World Series, I'm clear on Warren Jones once told me that losing to Oakland is probably the most disappointing loss of his life. We go out to Oakland with a 3-2 lead. The debate of who pitches game six. Some of the guys I wanted, George Stone, Tom wanted to pitch. He lost. You pitch. I had a couple of bad home runs, two bad pitches in game seven. We lose the game. Looking back, how disappointing was losing that game seven for you?
It's obviously disappointing. You certainly don't want to go that far and not come away with a W. But in reality, we should have won every one of the first 6 games we played. We outplayed them. The score didn't show that. The true Oakland team showed up the last day. You said 2 bad pitches. Campy hit a pretty good pitch. Might have been a little wind aided, but you got to tip your hat to him. He hit a good pitch, hit it the way it needed to go. The curveball I hung to Reggie, you probably could have hit out.
No, I don't think so, John. I don't think so.
That's one of those things that when it came out of my hand, I knew it wasn't going to be a good result. But that's why you play the game, I guess. It's sometimes the way things happen. I've talked to a lot of people after the fact about who should have pitched and why Yogi did what he did. I really don't know the answer to any of that. And if it would have been different had we gone a different direction, I was just thrilled to be part of it and go as far as we did.
Was the Cincinnati game, John, your favorite game, or is there any other game you wanted to highlight that I missed?
It probably is the most important game that I pitched well in. There were other games that I felt like I might have pitched actually better, but they weren't in the kind of pressure cooker that one was.
And how was it winning in New York? We won the pennant, on the World Series. You remember what was Shea Stadium like with a full crowd, full house, and full crowd there?
Oh my God, the place was rocking. If you hadn't been taught early on in your career how to sort of block out the noise and focus on what was going on the field, the noise between the fans and the airplanes probably would have been deafening. And I know it distracted the opposition in a lot of situations because hitters were constantly calling timeout. because of the noise. But the New York fans were great. They appreciated an honest effort. And as long as you gave them an honest effort, win, lose, or draw, they were behind you.
I know you live in Georgia. Now, do you get a chance to follow the Mets on TV, or how do you keep up a little bit?
I keep up in the morning on the computer. I go through MLB.com and review the previous day's happenings and see who did what and what everybody's doing. So that's sort of how I keep track. I don't watch a whole lot of the games start to finish, but I have seen some.
We got some good young players, and we're starting to peak right now. So hopefully we can do what you guys did in '73, peak in August and September, and once you get your foot in the playoffs, who can tell what can happen, right?
Anything can happen. The trick is going to the dance. So as long as they have that as a goal or something to look forward to, don't give up.
John, as always, you're always there for me, and I appreciate your time. And if you ever get to come back to New York, look me up. I'd love to have you at a game over here. And
Will do, Jay. I appreciate it. It's always good to talk
thank you
to
for your time. You're always very gracious, John. Thank you.